It's my pleasure and great honor to introduce to you Judge James Daley.
Thank you, folks. I'm Judge Daley, and I'm running to bring some common sense and humility back to the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Yes.
You've heard most of my background. My service time totals 36 years, including service as enlisted Marine infantryman in Vietnam. I retired from the Wisconsin Army National Guard as a Brigadier General. I'm most proud of my family. My wife, Shirley, we went to high school together. We've been married 45 years. We raised four daughters in Janesville, which means, of course, I went 23 years without a warm shower. 2 of my daughters followed me in the service, one in the Marine Corps and one in the United States Army and in Iraq. The women in my life have truly been the rocks that have enabled my life to be centered, focused, and stable. H.L. Mencken once joked that judges are just law students who get to grade their own tests. There's some truth to that. Judges don't have a whole lot of oversight when we make decisions, and the lack of oversight gets even worse the higher a judge goes. And the temptation for a judge to believe that they're the highest arbiter of right and wrong only gets stronger. That's why it's so dangerous when we have a justice like Ann Walsh Bradley who goes to our Supreme Court and then decides to change Wisconsin into her own image. Instead of upholding the rule of law, Justice Bradley has consistently relied upon her own prejudices to overturn the will of the people of this state. Let me give you 3 examples of Justice Bradley's unchecked judicial activism. First, in the lead paint decision, she voted to throw out of the window several hundred years of established law in order to find a Wisconsin company liable for an injury they couldn't be proved to have caused. This decision resulted in that company going bankrupt and a bunch of Wisconsin workers losing their jobs. Decisions from the Supreme Court have consequences. Then, in the Act 10 decision, she sided with out-of-state special interest groups and attempted to undo the legislature's and Governor Scott Walker's reasonable governmental reforms. And last, in her Act 10 decision, she voted with the dissent and attempted to prevent that law from being implemented. If she'd had her way, it would have kept Wisconsin's electoral system wide open for fraud and abuse. And of course, the U.S. Supreme Court put paid to that one this week, didn't they? These are just 3 examples from Justice Bradley's career, a career marked by unchecked judicial activism and a contempt for the rule of law. And that's the career that we must bring to an end on April 7th. Now, candidates who stand in front of you often provide you a flowery list of promises. You know, that litany of great and wonderful things they're going to do once we put them in office. I want to take a different approach with you today. I want to tell you the 3 things I will not do as your next Supreme Court Justice. First, I am not a judicial activist. I will not overturn the will of the people of the state in favor of my own personal beliefs. Second, I will not be a legislator. I will not create law from the bench.
Amen to that.
The rule of law and the Constitution must be placed above personal beliefs, individual agendas, or partisan political goals. Justices must not be legislators. And third, I will never throw needless roadblocks in the way of our dedicated law enforcement officers who daily risk their lives to protect our families. And with 57 Wisconsin sheriffs, the Milwaukee Police Union, and the Fraternal Order of Police for Wisconsin already endorsing my candidacy, I am law enforcement's choice to be your next Supreme Court Justice. I don't want you to think it's going to be easy, however. You know it's not. This is going to be a hard fight. We have 10 days left. We must take this to a close. and successfully. But I'm not afraid of a hard fight with 36 years of military experience. As long as that cause is just, necessary, and vital, and you know this cause is just, most necessary, and extremely vital for you, the voters, for our children, and for our grandchildren. We're talking about the future of this state. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes once wrote that the greatest act of faith is when a man understands that he is not God. I believe the greatest act of faith is when a judge understands that he or she has not been placed on the bench to be either a king or a queen. Justice Bradley has lost that faith. On April 7th, 2015, I intend to return that faith to that court. Now, I want to mention one other thing on the ballot. We've all seen the terrible dysfunction which has been on this court over the last 10 years. The incidents have been legion and published, and it's been embarrassment for most of us. The Supreme Court has lost the faith and trust of the people of this state. At the center of that controversy is Ann Walsh Bradley. She has been at the center of every controversy in the last 10 years. And now she's attempted to protect the status quo and keep that controversy going by opposing the constitutional amendment that will be on the ballot April 7th. Wisconsin presently selects their Chief Justice by seniority. If you live long enough, you outlive everybody else, you get to be boss. Understand the role of the Chief Justice is not ceremonial. It has actual power and authority. She controls the budget, she controls the agenda, she controls all communications between the courts and the legislature and the governor and the public, and she controls the communication within the judicial branch, all the way from the Chief Justice all the way down to the lowest municipal court. It's a powerful position. We believe in democracy. I believe in democracy. I think democracy is a great idea. My opponent doesn't. She doesn't want to give the justices of the Supreme Court a vote to determine who should be the Chief Justice. The constitutional amendment will require a vote every 2 years, which means the Chief Justice, for the first time in the state's history, will be accountable to the other justices. There's no accountability now. With accountability could possibly mean that, in fact, and it will mean, that the arguments stop happening because they will have a Chief Justice who they support. It isn't there now. You can give them that democracy and that vote. And oh, by the way, guess who's the second most senior person on the bench? Ann Walsh Bradley. So your duty is clear. Get the vote out, vote yes on the constitutional amendment, and by the way, when you elect me, Ann Walsh Bradley will be a thing of the past. Thank you for your patience. If I have a moment just to take any questions you may have about the candidacy or about the campaign, please throw them at me. Throw that curveball right on the outside corner of the plate.